Most of the time, I'm making clothes for myself here on YouTube, but this year started with a few creations for others. These got a lot of love on my Instagram when I shared little teasers, so here is the whole sewing process. Very cozy, made with love. We're starting with the idea I had to make denim jackets with Chinese accents for Lunar New Year, and we'll end with a custom embroidered silk scarf. I hope you enjoy. Okay, this is the test draft that I made for the denim jackets. You might recognize these leftovers from a previous blanket jacket. The pattern for this I drafted completely from my Lutterloh kit. It's a pattern drafting tool that uses like the golden rule of human body proportions, and it just uses one chest measurement for tops, one hip measurement for bottoms to extrapolate, like this is the starter kit, over 250 different sewing patterns. So you get a lot of value for a one-time purchase. You guys have seen me test out how it actually works on different body types in the past. I have drafted so many projects with this as a starting place. And after having kids, I asked them to send me the specific booklets they have that are just kids patterns. I flipped through it and I ended up picking this one. It's got all the bones of an oversized denim jacket, but I do want to modify the collar, simplify the cuff on the sleeves and on the bottom. And I'm going to be doing a frog closure in the front instead of a zipper, because I'm trying to make like this. This is the inspo that I've been working off of. One for each kid. I think I can do it. A quick refresher though, if you haven't seen how this works. After you choose the outfit that you want, you flip it over to the back and it shows the different pattern pieces you need to prepare. In this case, the ones I'm interested in are the front, back, sleeve, and this collar, which I plan on modifying. I haven't cut out the sleeve yet, so let me show you this one. I usually fold it up to get rid of the excess paper material. You're going to take this pin they supply in the kit, as well as this special measuring tape. Because this is for upper body, I take a chest measurement, and in this case I wanted it a bit oversized, so I landed on 80 as the circumference. Pin goes into the 80, and then on the guide, the pin goes right through the cross. And then from there, you stab it into the paper you're using for drafting. I add this corkboard underneath so the pin has something to stab into. I add a little bit of tape to make sure my little guiding paper does not shift or rotate. And then you see all these numbers that go all the way around the pattern. You line up the measuring tape with the little stroke beside it, and then 34.5 away, you draw a dot. Making our way around, this one at 34 away, you draw a dot. Coming up over here, 18 away, we draw a dot. 15.5 away, draw a dot. 16 away, draw a dot. All the way around until you're back to the start. They give you a few guiding points on how to connect all of those dots, but once they're connected, I have a finished sleeve. From here, I did make a few of my own pattern adjustments. I wanted a drop shoulder, so I lowered the sleeve cap by about 3 to 4 centimeters and redrew that curve. The original sleeve was more tapered at the bottom, but I wanted a straight cut, so I just made it a perfect 90 degrees. And then I drew extra lines at the bottom for how I want to fold in the fabric for the cuff. But yeah, this is ready to cut out and be applied to fabric. I'll put a link and my coupon code in the description if you want to check out the Lutterloh kit. This is an item that actually has quite a long-standing vintage history. I often get messages from followers that they actually already own a Lutterloh kit passed down from their grandparents. But ever since they sent me this kit, I've found so many different ways to use it. And the better you get at understanding pattern drafting and modification, it just becomes more and more useful. Last week I was working on drafting the pattern pieces and cutting out the fabric for the rest of the jacket. I'm going to go through this in greater detail on my Substack, but I gave the pattern modification of dropping the shoulders a try, and I think it worked out. This shoulder used to be this long, but I cut out the armhole piece, shifted it away, taped it back together. Let's see how it all worked out. The back, also with a dropped shoulder to match. I can't stand this palm print any longer. It just doesn't match anything else going on in here. And I've also stained it a little bit with this one chaotic Cricut project that I did. Something I learned last year was to press the seam as is before you open it up and press it into the direction you want it to lie down. I found it has made sewing way crisper, and you really want everything to be crisp and flat when you're working with a thick denim like this. In my last video, I used a thread pig a lot, and I've been trying to do that more so that my beginning of the stitches is really clean, especially with top stitch. The thread is so thick, so you want it to look good. Get the stitch started and then slide in the real fabric. There you go, 2 shoulders, looking really clean. Time to attach the sleeves over here. Shoulders, armhole. I might have overdone it a little bit with the ease, but I've decided it's fine. It's good enough. I'm gonna flop the whole thing right sides together, sew it from sleeve to armpit to the bottom of the side. Before I close up the sides, I'm gonna press all of the cuffs in place. I've been using this Prim iron-friendly ruler a lot, so I want 1 centimeter folded under. Then I fold it up to the 3 centimeter line, give it another press. You get to skip drawing the lines and just get the pressing done. I'm also putting together this little placket for the front closure. So there's a little flap of fabric behind the frog closures, so it's not like a gaping visible slit. Found a new tool. It was lying in this box of stuff, and then I realized I should actually use it. It has a proper name, but I don't remember what it is. This looks really good. To make this placket not so bulky when it's attached, I've decided to go with folding under this long edge, and then I'm just going to attach it with a straight stitch. Two rows of top stitching to attach, and then once it's flipped under, there's the front. They're going to meet like this. Whoop. So that this cute little placket provides full coverage for the style of button I'm doing. I think I can now top stitch this shut. I was being a little cheeky doing this top stitch from above and blindly hoping that I'm catching the edge correctly, but it's beautiful, it all worked out. Normally you're supposed to load the top stitch onto a bobbin so that you can do the top stitch while looking at the edge you're trying to catch. Anyways, I'm not in the mood to do all that. I think it's ready to have the sides sewn in from the sleeve to the armpit to the side of the body. Voila. All serged and beautiful. Now I'm hemming the bottom edges as well as the sleeves. I'm trying to do that smart thing where you cut into the raw edge so that when you fold it down, you can point the raw edge in opposite directions, and it just reduces the bulk, helps the seam to look a little smoother. Okay. Oh, it's looking good. Real cute. I love the straight sleeves that I went with. They're gonna fold up real nice to make them length adjustable for growing into it. I actually haven't been telling you guys something, which is I already made the smaller one. This is the first one that I made, and I was just kind of in like a low, maybe burnt out, but just a little bit of a low mood. I just had my own time sewing this off camera, and I got to kind of test drive all the features before I sewed the larger one for Marla. But because I'm going for a mandarin shape, I did some modifications to get the front to come together in the curved way. And I also angled the collar a little bit so it wouldn't sit up so cylindrically. This is how it looks on the little jacket. And here's the collar I'm about to attach. What's surprising me is I'm not really following any instructions, and the steps are like, they're actually in my head. That that denim jacket that I worked on last year, the collar had so many steps to it that I think I like fully internalized how to put together a collar. Doing this has been extremely gratifying because I've realized like, oh my gosh, collars don't scare me anymore. On the smaller jacket, I did not add interfacing. I wasn't sure if I needed it. So now on this bigger one, I'm just adding it for fun to see how they contrast. Once I sewed it together, I graded the raw edge and I did some clips so that it wouldn't be bulky. I have one edge of the collar pressed under so it's ready to be top stitched. And then this edge that has not been pressed is the one that gets sewn to the jacket first. Forgot to mention it earlier, but I also have the miniature version of this little iron-friendly prim ruler, and I really enjoy this for skipping the step of drawing a lot of lines and just going straight to pressing. They're very bendy, so they can even fit inside of collars and cuffs if you have like a really fine detail you're trying to press. I will link these in the description because it's very handy. After the first stitch to attach the collar, the way I've learned to get the collar top stitch really crisp is to go through all the effort of basting it. I definitely used to skip basting a lot more, but since seeing the results, I've become passionate about the importance of basting. The basting locks the fabric in exactly the position you want, so the top stitch goes on with no guesswork. And then you gotta remove all the basting stitches, and you end up with a very clean top stitch. And I even snuck in a little label. It's funny, they ended up being very similar in size. I feel like I didn't need to draft two different patterns. They've taken shape, and now I do really want to add pockets to the front. Oscar especially is in a phase right now where he's discovered that clothing has pockets, and I will catch him with his hand in the pocket and he'll look at me and he'll go, pockets. It's so cute. So have to put on pockets so that there's utility and also just to commemorate the discovery of pockets. And then the final challenge is making those frog closures. I want to make them out of the same denim fabric, and that's the hard part. I don't want to just buy pre-made ones. I really want it to look super cohesive. Pockets first, pockets first. After some pressing, I'm cutting into the pockets to reduce a bit of bulk. Here it is before the trim. Here it is after the trim, folded down with a top stitch. I've got these cute smaller tags that go with the one that I put at the neck. I'm gonna use a little bit of glue and attach them to the pocket, just like a cute little detail. A trick I've been doing lately is taking my ruler, sliding it in between the layers, and that lets me pin while dealing with the garment as flat as possible. Did the outer edge of the top stitch first, and then go in with the inner edge. Every once in a while I will do just the first stitch and think, that's good enough, that looks great. And then the moment I do the second stitch, I'm like, yeah, this is the way I want it to look. Got the cute little tag attached. That glue stick really does the trick. I do the outer top stitch first, flip it over to tie off the raw ends so that it's super clean. I gotta pull these ends to the inside and tie them off, and then the pockets are done. I'm in the middle of watching the Olympics. Not mad about this setup. Just having a cozy time sewing with a little TV. All right, I'm nervous about this next step. I have a strip of denim cut and prepared. This is the inspiration I'm trying to make. Just jumping in here because I need to address this. I think this image is AI. Like, I found this eBay listing when I was looking for if anyone has ever done this before, like a denim kids jacket with a mandarin collar and frog closures. Found this image and it gave me confirmation that the thing that I was aiming for was going to be satisfying to me. But the more I look at it and its other listing images, it just looks, something is off. Something is like kind of weird about it. Like, I don't even think this product truly exists. I don't have enough evidence that it does. And yeah, I don't have a takeaway other than this whole experience of finding an AI image, using it to create something, and then realizing the image is AI is like very unnerving to me. AI is scaring me, guys. I don't know. Anyways, weird moment. They use ribbons for these closures, but I've never made little ribbons out of denim before. I have a tube turner. I have had a lot of experience with tubes that don't flip. I don't know what I need to do right for this to work. We're just gonna start with folding it in half, see what we get. Okay, wait, maybe I should cut it to the tube turner length first. I've made the snake as tightly as possible with as little seam allowance as possible. I think I'm gonna go with chopping it to turn it. It's not feeling good. This doesn't work. I have to go to plan B. Yeah, I think the friction is just way too high to achieve this. Plan B it is. I had done all this research on how to tie this official knot, very loopy. I totally thought I could do this. However, I don't really need any of that research anymore because the cord that I'm working with is so much thicker than the type of rope that you would use to make this type of knot. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna tie a singular knot and that will be good enough. One knot, and then I'm folding it to be sewn wrong side facing down. Dan's yelling for me to go watch hockey. Whew. We scored. My presence was helpful. A close-up. I did play around quite a bit to get it so the ugly side of this cord is not visible. You actually can't see it anywhere in the knot. I'm really happy with that. Do we think I can make 6 of these? I really hope so. I did it. I'm so happy. I don't have to cut a new strip. And I have this little piece left over, which I actually have the perfect job for this. The challenge now is to get the friction and tightness of these loops just right so that you can get the button through, but it won't pop open too easily. I'm going to sew the knot side first and hope I can get the loops right from there. Ooh. Alrighty. With every single one, I did 2 rows. Looks pretty clean. Loop side, button side. I didn't really think too hard about the rules about which side should be button, which side should be loop. Though I know with the dress shirts and buttoned items, men's and women's slip sides. I really hope I got this right. It's staying. Not too hard to get through, although probably too difficult for a toddler. I'm gonna have to help. Looks so cute. Wow. Exactly what I wanted. Okay, we do need to do a bit of a mobility test. Let's see. Oh, okay. They can pull apart. Let me try that again. Let's see. It's not bad. With a little extra force, they can pop apart, but they won't pop apart on their own. Woohoo! Okay, I'll show you guys what I plan on doing with this extra little piece that was left over. I was kind of hoping that I would get a bit left over, and I did. Fraying is when the little strings keep coming out. I'm adding a little bit of this so that the little strings won't come out anymore.
Ooh, it's cool. It makes the shirt darker.
Yeah, lots of fabric turns a little bit darker after it's wet. And then when it dries, it'll go back to normal.
Is that mine or yours?
This one is, I think it's Oscar's jacket. You get one, Oscar gets one. Should I get one too?
Mm-hmm.
With that extra strip, I wanted to make a loop so the jackets could hang on a hook, but I realized this is something I should have inserted back when I did the collar because my top stitching was so invisible, it was nearly impossible to seam rip neatly. In the end, I pivoted to a different style of loop, but I will try to remember this for next time. I'm not quite sure where I left off with the last footage in this video, but I have since top stitched the collar on properly for my draft, and I removed that basting stitch. I brought this to my friend's place for her daughter to try on. It's super cute and fits her, which is great. And so now for the last step, I want to add the same type of frog closures that I did on the denim jacket. The knot side, the straight side to make the loop. I'm not sure if I count this as a design flaw, but I do dislike how the collar is so thick that it places pressure on the front so that it doesn't quite sit right. Like it's lacking enough structure to fight back against the collar. But once the buttons are on, it all works out. The buttons basically provide this like little firm bar of structure to neaten out the collar area. Sewing in here has been a little stop and start lately. I don't feel like I'm getting big chunks of uninterrupted days to do this. It's a lot of piecemeal. School and office life made me someone who loves to look forward to the next uninterrupted chunk of time where I can just hammer out this thing. If there was something I needed to do, I would just keep thinking, oh, okay, but then on Friday or Saturday, someday in the future, I'm gonna have like 4 hours to myself and I'm just gonna get it done. It's fine. I don't want to do it now. I'll just wait till that time. Becoming a parent basically eviscerated the possibility of this like fantasy giant chunk of uninterrupted time. And at first it was really tough for me to get focused and get things done because I would keep pining for this time frame that didn't exist. Now, thankfully, I've gotten way more used to getting things done in little pieces. I try to think of it as whatever little bit of progress you can get done is going to benefit future you, but sitting around waiting for some magical giant chunk of uninterrupted time that is probably never going to happen is not benefiting future you. I literally have an appointment where I have to leave the house in an hour or so. Just gonna see how far I can get with these buttons. I got all the frog closures attached by hand. On the denim jacket, I had left the edges raw because I was worried that if I tucked it under, it would end up looking way too bulky. But with this one, I did fold them under. They look super cute and clean. In my research, I also saw this option, which I thought was quite sweet. If it's an asymmetrical closure, I love this idea of these strings hanging down for a little fun and texture. But I'm just gonna sew these on as is. I feel like because it is centered, the strings are just gonna add too much chaos. The tricky part is definitely getting the loop to be the correct size for the knot. Too tight and it's difficult to even slide the knot through. Too loose and it just doesn't even do the job of a closure. Like as soon as you move, the buttons pop apart. On the knot side, I attached the outer edge as well as this inner edge about like 1.5 centimeters away. And then on the loop side, I only do the outer one. And then I take a second to slide it over, test drive, and see what size makes sense. If it's already fitting perfectly, then I'll try to stick with the basting stitches that I have going on. I feel like those buttons went in maybe way too easily, a little bit on the loose end. I give the loop a little pinch at where I might sew it down and then just test if I can still get the knot in and out. Okay, that seemed all right. That is like 1 centimeter from the edge. Yeah, okay, I think that's good. So I posted a few photos on my Instagram of the finished denim jacket, and I've never gotten so many requests to release a pattern before. That is not something I've ever done before. I'm not even quite sure how that would work, but I kind of want to make it my side quest now. Of course, if you grab the Lutterloh kit, you could draft any of those things yourself, but I get that it's not always a skill set that people have or have the time to do. I'm not sure if I'm going to get around to it in this video, but yeah, let's try to make a sewing pattern. Ooh, ta-da! Just gotta remove the rest of these basting stitches. It's so cute! Oh my goodness. I love it. The puffy buttons are a fun little contrast from the denim style. Sleeves can be unrolled as the arms get longer on my friend's kid, but they also look quite cute cuffed up to start. It's really adorable. I love it. Should I make a pattern? One last thing, I added this garment tag that serves as a loop for hanging. I didn't use this one on the denim jackets because it felt too busy with the other garment tag that I added, but this was such an easy move. I definitely should get more of these. Here is some footage of the kids wearing the jackets. I'm sorry if this is not the clearest footage. They're just in that age where they're always scurrying around, loving life, having fun, and I didn't have it in me to like force them to stand still. But believe me when I say, proudest thing I've ever made for the kids. I love it so much. I want one. I feel like jealous and sad I didn't plan ahead to make one for myself. And the digital pattern is happening. I've been working on it on my computer for the past few weeks. I thought this would be such a small project, but here we are, like approaching the 30-minute mark. So I'm gonna save the scarf embroidery for a part 2, which will also include the testing and release of the digital pattern. So by the time you see part 2, you know that it's ready to download. There's been so many requests for this, so I'm excited to see what people make. If you're on my Substack, you know there's been a lot of projects going on in the background. I think I have like 3 or 4 videos at the same time, which has never happened before, but I just have a lot of excitement for sewing. It's really nice. Stay tuned for those, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.